Okay. Good evening and welcome to TecSocial, the first one of January 2015, or the first one of 2015. My name is Bob Pelly. I'm with InnovaCorp, and I'm your host for the evening. And it's a special night. We're celebrating 10 years of TecSocial tonight. I can't believe it myself that it's that we're 10 years old. If you would like to share any of tonight's events on the Twitter, feel free to do so. You can find us at TecSocialCB and use the hashtag TecSocial. Believe it or not, this is actually TecSocial number 106. Can you believe that? 106 TecSocials since we started way back in October 2004. When I thought about looking that up, how many did we have? How many? What is that number today? And sort of that whole Netflix mentality kind of took over, and I thought, well, should I go with the number, or should I say it's season 11, number 5? So I'm not sure what we'll use going forward, but maybe both for the time being. This is way back at TecSocial number 1. This was the original invitation poster that was created for the event. And Sarah Conrad, who's over in line at the table there. Sarah, do you remember this? Sarah was there right from the beginning. And just to put you back in time, 2004, I'll throw some interesting facts at you. Red Sox won the World Series. New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. Some of the big news from the year: there was a serious wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl. Ashley Simpson was caught lip syncing on Saturday Night Live. That was a huge scandal that year. Facebook was relatively new. It was just for college students at the time. And Live Strong just started to emerge, and the bracelets, those yellow bracelets, just kind of came on the scene. Well, way back then, October 2004, when we had that first TecSocial, we actually had it at this place, which was the Royal Cape Breton Yacht Club. Of course, that burned a couple of years ago now. And we've moved around since then. We had for the balance of that year, we spent our time at the, I think we used to refer to it as the lower level of Daniels, not the basement. It was actually quite dark and dingy and smelled a bit musty. There are no photos, I think because it was too dark. So that's what the entrance looked like. We added a website that year. Later on, we got into some social media. Our branding did change over the years as well. As you can see, there's 3. Well, if you include the one that's on the actual cover of the slide, you can see all 4 of our logos that we've used for TecSocial. And there's been a lot of memorable events over the past 10 years. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and run through some of them with photos. We've had the i3 pilot was started here in 2006. And look at that young Chad Monroe who won that first i3 pilot back in 2006. More recently, we've had TecSocial has hosted the Spark Cape Breton Innovation Challenge. And we've actually just gone through our latest iteration of that, and I'll share some of the winners a little later on. In 2005, we had a huge birthday bash for 4 companies that were celebrating their 10th anniversary. It was probably the largest TecSocial event that we had at the time. It was a huge crowd. We had entertainment, and you can see in the photo, 4 birthday cakes for VMP, Advanced Glazings, Dynagen, and MediaSpark. And Wait till you see the photo by the cake. Look, again, all those baby faces, eh? Holy smokes. Look at the hair. Matthew Giorgio with hair. Holy smokes. Oh my. Another real highlight for me in February 2008, Irving Schwartz talked about failure in business, and it was one of those. It was a hugely popular event. It was one of those ones we really should have been recording because it was a classic. There's no question about it. We've also had in September 2010, these two fellows met at a TecSocial. They met in September. I think in November they decided to form a company, and 11 months later they sold that company for a little over $70 million, and I think they're still smiling. We've done some really fun things at TecSocial. Anybody remember these guys? In June 2007, we had a debate, and it was PC versus Mac. Was a lot of folks mentioned that as a memorable event. We also did some fun things around BlackBerry and iPhone. The debates were really popular and a lot of fun. Hard to believe that 10 years ago when TecSocial started, there was no iPhone. Can you believe that? Wow. We've done a few other fun things as well. Things like a speed dating career fair, and this newspaper article from the Chronicle Herald says pub plays host to job fair in Sydney, and again, we did that at the lower level in Daniels. Fortunately, it was in the summer, so the cool and dampness was actually kind of refreshing. We did an extreme makeover web edition as well, which was a lot of fun, where we asked people to submit websites that needed a makeover, and then we actually made over 3 of them and used that as a learning experience and talked about what was why would you do things that you did to make over a website. That was a lot of fun. We've had some young presenters. These two lads were science fair winners from Cape Breton Regional Victoria School Board. So we've had young presenters and we've had some old presenters. And no, I'm not picking on Matt. This actually, Matt was also a bit of a guinea pig for us. He was the very first presenter that we live streamed at TecSocial was Matthew Giorgio in November of 2012. And that was really a milestone because right now we have as many and more people watching our live streams as watch here in person, and that's really it's really done a lot for the technology community across Cape Breton Island. Here's a photo of some folks at actually Go Instant in Halifax watching a live stream. They gather every month to check out what's happening at TecSocial. And guys, if you're watching tonight, thanks for joining us. We've had informative speakers like Darren and Jim. We've had inspirational speakers like Kim DeVoe. And we try new things. Like just last month, we had Gavin Uma as part of the UIT Startup Immersion. He actually Skyped in. So we Skyped him in and still broadcasted at the same time. That's why my hair is thinning, because of stuff like that. The best thing, though, at TecSocial is, and I know a lot of people will agree, it's not just the beer, but the people that come out, the people that you meet and get to share some time with. And I know it's always a dangerous thing to highlight anybody in particular, but I am going to highlight just a few people who have really helped TecSocial throughout the years. First, I referenced her earlier, Sarah Conrad. Where are you, Sarah? Sarah and Cecil Smith were both, Cecil was at CBU at the time. They were both very instrumental in the early days extremely supportive, cracking the whip, trying to get people to come out to those early TecSocials, and a big part of why we're still here today. Sarah has been there ever since and remains today, so thank you for that. Another is Keith McDonald. Keith is always a big supporter. We were reminiscing earlier about that very first one at the yacht club, and Keith has always been there and experimented by doing things, with the Cape Breton Partnership in Ingonish and Badek, and thanks for your support, Keith. This next one, Dale is not here this evening, but Dale Gass has been a big supporter, and he would win the award for standing in for Bob when he's out of town most often. So he complained that every time I asked him to help out, it always coincided with when I would be out of town. So maybe that's why we don't see him here as often anymore, but Dale has been a huge supporter. But this next one is really interesting. It's Suzanne Townsend, and I've never actually met Suzanne face to face. She lives in Inverness County, and Suzanne was really instrumental in getting the web streaming going. She worked with me and tested, and we tried 4 or 5 different platforms early on to make sure it worked, and sound quality and video worked. And she was a tremendous supporter and really helped to streamline it and make sure that it was user friendly on her end as well as my end. So if you're watching tonight, Suzanne, thank you. And these next two are fairly regular guys. I'd have to say that when I was thinking about who has won the most door prizes at TecSocial, I don't think anybody would dispute that it would be a toss-up between Kevin Chisholm and Steve Lilly. And so rather than flip a coin, I put them both up there. I know Steve has probably thought that it was about the most beer consumed, but that's a different award. What's next for TecSocial? Well, I'm not exactly sure. I think you're going to see more innovation, more companies, and lots more TecSocials, and hopefully lots more collision, inspiration, and growth in the community. And before I exit the stage and do some announcements, I would like to invite Steve Duff, who's the CEO of Innovacorp. He wanted to share a couple of thoughts. So Steve, if you want to come up and say a few words, that'd be great.
So I better not touch the microphone, correct, Bob? Is the camera?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Can I move this? No.
You're good right there.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Bob. That was a really interesting look back at the genesis of TecSocial. My name's Steve Duff. I'm CEO with Innovacorp, and one of the first things I did when I stepped into this role was I made sure I came down to visit Bob and spend some time here in Cape Breton. I've been back several times since, and each time it is a delight to see the activity, the innovation, and the entrepreneurship that is alive and very vibrant on the street here. And TecSocial is really a representation of that. And TecSocial actually extends well beyond this room, well beyond Cape Breton, through the live streaming, but also reputationally. I get this a lot when I travel around the province. Across Atlantic Canada in New Brunswick, Cape Breton has a real brand for entrepreneurship, and the things you're doing here are quite unique and remarkable. You're actually building a Silicon Valley-like entity, small baby steps, but all the pieces have been assembled, and now it's just about getting the momentum going behind it. And TecSocial's an important part of that, but Bob actually left out some important parts of the genesis of TecSocial. And so I've done some in-depth research here. I've gone back through the archives, through the Cape Breton archives, and I've discovered that actually TecSocial started with actually a wave of immigrants that came in. A wave of immigrants came in, and they were inspired to seek out technology. And they said, you know, we understand that Cape Breton is a place to be, but it's a long way away, and it's a treacherous journey, but we're going to do it. So they set out a sort of a brave and brawny sort, went forward to battle the elements. One Bob Pelly, and he was successful in pulling together some of his friends and colleagues. And you can see the elements are not very friendly. They had to strap these board-like things to their feet and travel over mountains, snow-covered mountains. And in fact, as well, weathered some very stormy seas, as you'll see here, trying to make it to the promised land. But when Bob and the team arrived, they discovered some really cool shit happening here. And he said, you know what? I think I'm going to hang out here and see what unfolds. So there's another small piece here that I need to put together about the meaning of 10 years, because in fact, yes, it is a big congratulations for 10 years of TecSocial, but I also want to recognize in front of the room here this evening that in 3 days' time, it is also the 10th anniversary of one Bob Pelly at InnovaCorp. So Bob, congratulations, Bob. Congratulations, TecSocial. It's a delight to have you on the InnovaCorp team and represent InnovaCorp in Cape Breton. And on behalf of the entire team, thanks very much. And I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. That was a bit unexpected. So, let's see. On to some announcements. And as you know, when we do our announcements at TecSocial, that's always the opportunity that if you want to get your business card into our door prize draw box, now is your chance. As we go through the announcements, we'll give you an opportunity to drop your card in there. Just a few announcements tonight. First, I wanted to take a minute and share the winners of Spark Cape Breton, the most recent round, which were announced in December. And I'll just go through them quickly. Some are here, and if they are, I'll point them out. And as you know, Spark Cape Breton is an initiative of InnovaCorp, Nova Scotia Economic and Rural Development, and also a COA. And the whole idea is that it's to provide up to $50,000 in startup cash to create a company, to let them build a prototype. And in alphabetical order, I believe these are listed. The first of 8 is Chatsubo Heavy Industries. Caleb Dulesky won $45,000, and Caleb is right here in the front row. Do you want to stand up, Caleb? Congratulations. Local Me, Richard Lorway and Matthew Giorgio won $50,000 for their entry. The guys, congratulations. Robert McKenzie from Prevail Innovations won $10,000, and I know Rob is here somewhere. Rob, congratulations. Matthew McKay from Rent Buddy won $5,000. I don't recall seeing Matthew here. Joe Ward from Social Response Marketing was awarded $10,000. Dr. Jerry Marangoni and Dr. Kubler Singh from Sona Nanotech won $50,000. Christopher Walker and Anastasia Sillaboy from TAC Mobile Health Solutions won $25,000. Not sure if nobody here from there. And Darren McDonald from Uptime Management won $5,000, and Darren is here as well. I'd encourage you to seek those folks out and congratulate them and ask them about their business. In other announcements, we have the Riverview Focus on Information Technology program has 9 students that are looking for job placements, and Ryan Coleman is here somewhere. Ryan, do you want to take a couple of minutes for your pitch?
Here, up there, Bob.
Whatever is best for you.
Audience here. I'm off Chip as well. I apologize there. I'm going to give you, that's a fit brochure pamphlet.